Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going to go back to the Cotswolds and checking out their ex-bourbon cask. Probably should just say bourbon cask, but in any case this is something a little bit different from them. But just to let you know how I got hold of this bottle, if you watched my Whisky in, Whisky out for February 2022, I was actually given a trio of Cotswolds bottles by a fan and friend of the show, James Palmer, and he fancied buying these bottles for himself and wanted to help support the channel, so he arranged for them to be shipped to me first. I opened them and have reviewed them, and we'll be getting those reviews out to you shortly, and then once I'm done with this I'll be sending the bottle back to him, so he still gets a relatively full bottle. Really good way of helping support the channel, and I really appreciate him doing that because it just helps bring the cost down of the channel, to be honest. But in any case, I get to try some of my favourite distillery, still technically my nearest distillery, I think. Maybe the Spirit of Birmingham is now slightly closer, but in any case they're not actually putting anything out yet, so let's still count the Cotswolds for now. And I should also say, obviously you guys know I'm a massive fanboy of Cotswolds, but if you were ever in any doubt about my opinion of these things, whether it can be kind of turned over or whatnot, go and check out my review of their other one, the I forget what it's called now, the Cotswolds Reserve, and although I enjoyed that liquid, I think I was fairly critical of the price point, but that's the first time I've done that with Cotswolds. So in any case, going back over to this one here, we can see what we've got. Now, Cotswolds, as you'll know if you've been watching my channel, I cover a lot of Cotswolds. I think I've covered nearly every single Cotswolds that's ever been released. They are pretty well known for using the Jim Swan STR cask technique, the shaved, toasted, recharred, ex-red wine casks. Now, what this does is allow new distilleries to kind of design a young malt that's designed to be aged for 3, 4, 5 years, not 20 years, and age it in these amazing casks and produce a well-rounded, very drinkable, if not excellent, spirit in just 3 years' time. They've been toying around with lots of different versions of the STR casks. There have been some single casks, there's been some 80-20s, there's been some 50-50s, between that and other kind of cask types. But this right here is the first release, as far as I'm aware, that's been commercially available. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've just really remembered one. That's the World Whisky Day Forum, or whatever it was, World Whisky Forum release. But that one was like 250 bottles. I had a bottle and I swapped it for something else. So yeah, this one here now is their bourbon cask. There's no STR in this whatsoever. So that should make it fairly interesting, because their entire kind of range is almost built around this STR thing. We know STR now well enough, so it should be quite interesting to see how their distillate goes against just a normal cask. This is just everyday run-of-the-mill casks. This is normal. Let's get into it and see what we've got, shall we? Because I'm interested. Obviously, natural colour, non-chill filtered, and a good thing about this one here, cask strength. This one's 59.1%, so pretty awesome. Obviously not single cask. This is a batch release. In fact, this is 2,500 bottles. I'm not sure if they're going to keep doing this, but if the other ones are to be kind of believed, then I think they're going to carry on with this at kind of more and more batches. And I should say as well, price point, I shouldn't worry about that too much. We're going to go into it a bit at the end of the show, but yeah, this one's up there with the kind of more expensive ones of the Cotswolds, the kind of £65 mark. Let's get into it and see what we've got, shall we? On the nose then. Oh, wow. I mean, sometimes I say a lot of things like, it's good to leave this one out on the side, blah, 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 but I have to say, this one's drinkable right out of the bottle, even at that high ABV. There's nothing too mind-blowing in terms of the notes that I'm getting. It's all pretty normal. Things like vanillas. This one kind of errs on the side of like creme brulee, that kind of burnt caramelly vibe of it going as well. Some honeys, nothing too out there, just all very familiar, but we like that. Lovely, lovely nose. Let's try on the palate. Oh wow. I mean, that ABV is like, it makes itself known. It isn't shouting at me, but if you're not into your high strength ABVs, then this might not be for you as a kind of normal, kind of neat drinking whiskey. Obviously I recommend adding water if that's you, but For me, huge fan of those high ABVs. And again, there's nothing too out there in the tasting notes. You know, we're talking vanillas, honeys again, but it really allows that kind of house fruitiness from the Cotswolds. They got that long fermentation that really brings out the extra fruitiness to it. Oh, yeah, so good, so good. The finish is massive. Just keeps going on and on and on. Long, spicy, fruity, juicy, lovely, just lovely. Again, with the ABV, you might want to bring this down a little bit if that's you. Crack on. Can't guarantee how much water it can take, because that's just not me. As you guys know, if you watch this channel, my kind of ethos is to review whiskey as it's presented to me. Yeah, sure, I can add whiskey. I can add water. Add whiskey to whiskey. I can add water, but that just makes it more personal to me then, rather than giving any information to you. Besides the point. For me, excellent whiskey. And going right back to what I was talking about before about the price point, my big issue with the Cotswolds Reserve was this kind of weird no man's land of price that it was in. Significantly higher than the core range release, and only just shy of the special releases like this. This one is well in there with the kind of Founder's Choice and the Sherry Cask, which I'll be covering again in the future, at that £65 mark. So, it's not a cheap whiskey, but I think perfectly priced to fit in there with those extra special releases. And this one is that, without a doubt. The cask strength nature of it is just fabulous. Absolutely love it. The fact that it hasn't got any STR in it is astounding, because I know that's kind of their thing, and it just proves that they can make excellent whiskey no matter what kind of casks they're putting them in. I guess the cask choices are important, but in this case, bourbon cask is an absolute winner for me. If you were umming and ahhing about it, get it. Don't worry about getting the reserve. You can skip that and pay extra tenner and get something a bit better. But if you're more interested in sherry casks, keep an eye on the channel, because I'm going to be covering that one in the next few weeks sometime. Not sure exactly when that's going to come out, but hit subscribe and you'll see that one when it comes out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on more No Nonsense Whiskey videos.